I am Ramona, and welcome to Ramona Interviews. And with me in the chair today, and it is such a delight, we're going to have a fabulous interview, is Ron Rosenstock. Welcome, Ron.
Thanks, Ramona. Great to be here.
Thank you. You are a photographer, a teacher, a tour guide, and you do landscape photography. Is that correct?
I do mostly landscape, architecture, people, a little bit of everything. I love photography, and I do all subject matter, really. So I've been just loving photographing the landscape of Iceland for many years now, and I spoke to a friend of mine about having an exhibit there, and he made some inquiries and showed some of my work to people at the National Museum of Iceland, which is like the biggest museum. It's in Reykjavik, and they liked the idea. So I have a show there right now that I hung, and we had the opening last May. It's called Inspirations. And I call it Inspirations because the land is so inspirational. I mean, talk about sort of childlike innocence. I mean, it's like the land of rainbows and waterfalls. Around every bend, I'm looking at something, oh my God, look at this. And I do this like once or twice a year, and I'm still like enamored. It's like I'm in love with this landscape. It's so amazing.
Now, the three photographs that the audience is looking at now, what do they have anything in common with each other, or is there something particular about each one when you took those shots that you could perhaps tell us about?
Well, the one of the lava rock out at sea with beautiful clouds behind it. Keep in mind a quote by Ansel Adams, and he said, "Photographs are made, not taken." You know, I mean, it's just as interpretive and abstract almost as, say, a painter with a canvas and applying paint. Mm-hmm. So the originals are never like that. The original subject matter is the original inspiration. Mm-hmm. You know, then I work with the image to capture, you know, the feeling that I have at the moment of making the exposure. That lava rock had, you know, been out there for maybe 800 years. And just withered away, and it's now like supported on like a tripod almost. The name of it, if anyone's listening who speaks Icelandic now, they'll probably laugh at my pronunciation. The closest I could get to it is Hvitserkur. Okay. And I believe it means like white rock because of a lot of birds nest on it, so they have changed the color of it a bit. And it's a very dynamic kind of form. It's like a sculpture, a natural sculpture that is just offshore. Yeah. And so we always stop there to photograph, and of course capturing the clouds and the tide just right. There's no way of planning that. Right. So I've been there dozens of times, and that photograph that you just showed is my absolute favorite that I've made there. I have many what I call near misses or near hits, however you want to look at it, but that one seemed to work because the clouds were behind it and really worked well.
Now, do you find that the shoreline in that area speaks to you in a different way maybe than the shoreline in Maine? And is that reflected in the photos that we're seeing? Because there's a beautiful photo of a shoreline where it almost looks like the sand is black.
It's all lava sand. It's all from crumbling black lava. So the sand, all the sand, jet black sand. So when you have the white water rushing up, whether you shoot it in color or black and white, it's still going to be black and white. There is no color, you see. So it really lends itself to black and white. Most of my black and white work, you know, is shot digitally, color, you know, and then in the software I would make it into black and white. But originally it's a color, and sometimes it's so close to what I wind up with you can't even tell that the color was color.
And you've published books, so can you talk a little bit about the books that you've published and kind of how that works? Do you have an exhibit first, then do a book? Do you do a book and then have an exhibit?
But I exhibit my work, and then I seem to get the idea of publishing a book. And after many years of working in Ireland and having many exhibits, you know, I put a book together. Called The Light of Ireland. And I did that work primarily in the 70s and early 80s, all with what's called an 8x10 view camera, where the negative was 8x10 inches. So it was way before going to digital. And I've had many shows of my work from Ireland and then I do have the book to go along with it. Now, the show I had at the Worcester Art Museum, this was a few years back, and it opened December of 2011, and I was there for maybe about 7 or 8 months. It was held over for a very long time. Well, the curator liked my book called Hymn to the Earth, so he patterned the exhibit after that particular book. So the book was a very successful of my work from Italy, and I'm able to sell the book there as well. Another thing I often do, which I didn't even mention, I do a lot of public speaking, like for camera clubs and other organizations, even assisted living places. I do, photo tours. It's not technical talk. It's like kind of like a travelogue, for people who had done a lot of traveling during their lives.
There's a website that you're going to give us for a video that was a collaboration. Can you talk a little bit about that?
It's called The Light Within. If anyone did a Google search, Vimeo, V-I-M-E-O, The Light Within, and you can even put my name, Ron Rosenstock, they're going to see a trailer, a 3-minute trailer to the DVD. If they wanted the DVD,
right,
they would have to contact me.
Okay.
Okay, it
And what's
just
your website?
came out. It's my name, which is ronrosenstock.com. Is Gabriel Rosenstock, one of the foremost authorities on the Irish language and an exceptionally well-known Irish poet who's published probably 100 books of his poetry, mostly in Irish. Okay, he also does lots of translations, in many different languages. Well, he made a contact with another mutual friend now, whose name is Eugene Skiff. Eugene is a South African musician who lives in London, and he's an amazing, amazing musician. So I sent over a number of my files to Eugene, who put it all to music, and then Gabriel wrote poetry to go with a number of the poems in Irish. So he's actually reading it in Irish, but they're English subtitles. People say Gaelic, but Irish is one of the Gaelic languages. And so it's the poetry, and it's the music, and it's my photographs. It's a lot of work from Ireland, but it's not specific for Ireland. There are images from all over the world that I've done.
Again, I would like to thank you. What's your website address in case someone would like to get in touch with you?
It's www.ronrosenstock.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Ramona. My pleasure.
I'm Ramona, and you've been watching Ramona Interviews. Have a fascinating week.